So anyway, let's go on with this video. This is going to be truly amazing. So you see these branches, they look like trees laying on the ground, okay? But these are branches off of this larger old oak tree, and you see over here how big some of the branches are on these trees. And these are tiny compared to the trees where I'm trying to show you, okay? And when I first started this project, you know, I've seen so many videos about the giant trees and so much division, and it seems like all people had was opinions and beliefs and showing pictures of mountains next to tree stumps. But if you've been watching my videos, you know how extensive they are. I'm showing you the truth, okay? So what I'm going to show you today is truly incredible if you have the eyes to see, okay? And if you don't see it, watch it again, because I'm going to show you something incredible, okay? So we're going to start off here, and then I'm going to go into the mountains, which is El Dorado Springs, and show you something. So you look at this here, okay? And all these are all just large branches. And this is something similar that happened during the flood and when the trees were destroyed, okay? So I want to show you this. And you just got to get your origami 3D glasses on, okay? So you see this right here. This is probably 4 foot in diameter, okay? It's a large branch, okay? And it's fallen. And I'm going to show you the exact identical thing where this branch is hundreds, if not thousands of feet in diameter. So you have to understand here, when you look at this from the end, okay? What I'm going to show you, I'm going to put pictures in and go back and forth. They're showing you pictures of this and the giant fallen branch like this, so you can understand. But when you look at this, okay, I want you to pay close attention to it. You see this right here, okay? In the mountains, I'm going to show you the same thing. And then you're going to see these ledges like this. And then you're going to see smaller ledges like this. And then you're going to see smaller ledges like this, and the edge of them, okay? But a lot of what I'm going to show you is missing, and has fallen away on this giant branch that's thousands of feet in diameter. This actually comes all the way across, and the shack right here where you pay to get into the park, the road was cut out, and then over here to the right you'll see the extension of it. And then towards the end, I'll show you, as I'm going to show you this from an angle about like this, and I'll show you all the ledges, I'll show you the wall, and I'll do close-ups of how this looks on a giant scale right here. And then I'll show you the sides of it where the rings are like this. And then I'll show you the end of it, which looks just like a stump that is weathered and eroded and smooth and rounded over the times. Okay? And then over here, you'll see a cave, and I'll show you the way the cedar tree. Where the rings are, I'll put different examples in, but I want you to take a close look at this so you know what you're looking at. This is the best example I can show you. And I'm going to be kind of at this angle right here when I'm showing you. Okay, so hold on a moment. Okay, I'm going to be kind of shooting from this angle, and you'll see the wall right here. And you'll see the ledges. Okay? You'll see all this stuff, and you'll see the end of the stump when I walk around over on this bridge. But this is all you're looking at, okay? I just want you to look at this. And just remember, when I walk around on the bridge, I'll show you the face of this. And I'll show you the ledges. But on this particular one, you gotta go this way to see the ledges, like this. And I'll show you the side where the rings are, like this. Okay? And this is about the angle I'm going to be shooting it. And you'll understand. Here's another one, but it's not as good of an example as this. So I'm going to leave this at that. I'm going to head to the mountains. I'm going to show you that part. Okay? I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of this so you see. Okay? You'll see the whole wall in the back. And one thing I want you to remember is that this is probably about 4 foot in diameter across, and you have this radius to it. This branch I'm going to show you is so large that in 100 yards, the radius almost appears flat because it's so large, okay? You need to remember that. You're not going to see a whole lot of radius because these things are so large. In 200 yards, it's still going to appear to be flat because it has such a large radius. Like I said, I'll put some pictures in, but I want you to look at this, what you're looking at, and remember the face of it. I'm going to show you that. I'll put a picture in here showing you what you're looking at, and the side where the rings are. Okay, I will show you that. I will show you the ledges. Okay. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty darn close. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end this here. I'm going to go up to the mountains, and I'm going to show you this exact detail, but on a giant scale. And you look close in here at these. Okay, you look at the wall here. Let me see if I can get a close up. You look at this. You can imagine this on a giant scale, okay? And remember the rings that I'm going to show you on the side. Okay, you could see right here, each one of these is a different ring coming down, and I'll show you from the side. Okay, so now I'm just repeating myself, but it's important that you see that. And you see right here, okay, you're going to see this at the end of it. When I go over on the bridge, you'll see like this, but this is what I'm going to show you is so much larger, and things have weathered and rounded and smooth. Okay, it's important to understand that. Just look at this back wall. That's what I'm calling it, a back wall. And then you get the ledges, okay? Things like this. All right, we're gonna go up there and I will show you. Actually, before I leave here, I just want to explain one more thing, that you look at this bark on here, okay? And you see how thick it is. And you see this piece right here, okay? In a couple of my other videos, I've explained about the hills and valleys. Can you imagine some of this bark on the sides of these branches and trees, how this would create hills and valleys as the trees laying down? This gap between here could be hundreds of yards, maybe shorter, maybe longer, and you would get your hills and valleys. And then you look here, the way this branch is laying out, okay? And you have this branch coming out from a branch, and you would have more coming out, and that would also create humps, hills and valleys. Okay, I just wanted to put that in your mind so you understand. Okay, we're gonna go up there. Okay, before we get to where we're going, I just wanted to give you an overview of this, and I'm going to give you a shot at this angle, and when I get down the road a little bit, I'm going to give you a different shot from a side angle. But all you're seeing here is just the remnants and the remains of what's still remaining of the upright trees. Okay? You'll see these, I call them shards, still sticking up out of the ground all over this world. Just a couple examples is like at the Garden of the Gods, Red Rocks, which is in Morrison, Colorado, the Flatirons, which is in Boulder, Colorado. They're just shards that are still standing up and still remaining. Like I said, I'll give you a different shot before we get there from a different angle. Okay, I'm going to show you this at a different angle, but I just wanted to tell you also that at the end of this video, I'm going to place a video of a sermon about spiritual blindness, which is really good. You know, the devil, he prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour, and people don't understand that. And when you have spiritual blindness, it causes physically, mentally, spiritual, emotional sickness. People don't understand that. And that's the whole point of these videos, is to try to wake people up and show them the truth. Okay, so I'm going to show you this, the shards, and this is where we're going. But just don't forget what I showed you with that branch. So you see here, these are all just shards that are standing upright. Okay, all of them. And you'll see this all over the world. Okay? And then another thing I would like to show is, I've mentioned the bark many times, and you see all these hills that are everywhere around here. Okay? We're just going to do an overview. But like these hills here, you go all the way back. These are just remains. Even everything under this road, everything out here is just full of these branches. And when you come over here and you see stuff like this, I believe this is just part of the bark. That was on these trees, okay? I believe that's what that is. You know, it's truly incredible stuff. And it has perfect, the I don't know the word for it, but like I say, I believe this is part of the bark that was on the tree. But anyway, don't forget what I showed you with that branch, okay? And we're gonna head up there now. We're gonna go up through this canyon here. This is still just is what is remaining. And like I say, you see this everywhere. I've shown it in many of the videos. And I hope if you've been following these videos that your eyes are open when you go out into your mountains and places like that. At least for me, it feels like I'm walking on a completely different planet, seeing the truth. It's like a whole new adventure walking through the mountains. It's truly incredible. So with that, we're gonna head up there and I'm gonna show you this branch, okay? Okay, we are here and I hope you have your 3D glasses on, but I'm just gonna briefly show you this and then I'm gonna walk around over here and give you an overview. But if you remember what I called the wall, okay, this would be the wall. And then you see the ledges here. And you see the ledges up here. But before I show you that, I'm going to show you this person way up here. This is pretty crazy. He's almost made it up there. So, you got to get your 3D glasses on. Just meaning your eyes. So, I showed you, man, it's really hard to show you this without the peripheral vision, okay? So let me show you. I'm going to go to different angles, but remember the radius, it goes all the way up and around, okay? And even right here, there's a ledge, and then a wall right here. And then you'll see the ledge is what I talked about. Okay, there's a ledge. Let me go up to it. Okay, there's a ledge, what I'm talking about. And more ledges right here. Okay. And this is your radius. I told you I'd be at this angle right here. And you see this is the radius, okay? And the end of it is right over here. And this part here is part of it right here. Let me show you. This is part of it. It was just removed to cut this road out through there. Okay? And then over here, here's the rings. Looking at from the side of it, which I'll go over there and show you. But you got to remember what I showed you with... Here, let me pause it. Actually, we're going to go down the road here. We're going to start there, so hold on. Okay, we're going to start off here, and I'm going to walk around. But this right here would be the wall that I mentioned, like the back of the tree when you were looking at it falling like this. and then you'll see the ledges, okay? You'll see them all through up there, depending on what angle we're at. And this thing here used to go way up and around and way down, okay? And it used to continue over that way. But as we go up to the left, you'll understand more of what I'm talking about. It's going to be identical to what I just showed you in that large fallen branch, okay? So hold on. Okay, so this is just a different angle, okay? And this is where we are today. Okay? Remember, we're not looking at it from the end yet. Remember, this went all the way around. And you see the different ledges, okay? Okay, let me go to a different angle. Okay, here's a slightly different angle. So, I'll probably put a picture in here just to refresh your memory. But you remember how I showed you we're looking at the end of the stump and it goes around, okay? And I showed you all the different ledges that are here, up here, right here. And then when you come over here, this is also a ledge right where the back of my finger is. Right here, that's a ledge. And you'll see it when I get to the different angle. And I told you about the wall, okay? And I'll zoom in on some places. And remember I showed you, just remember this on a massive scale. This is just how the tree breaks down. And I'll show you these ledges here. I'll put a picture in here showing you what this ledge is here, okay? And if you remember towards the end of that video, I showed you, remember the wall, and I zoomed in on it. Remember what this looks like here. And you look close in here at these, okay? You look at the wall here. Let me see if I can get a close-up. You look at this. You can imagine this on a giant scale, okay? Okay, all this. I'll get some really close-up pictures of this for you. You just see all the ledges, okay? And then over on this side, right over here, I walk over there and I'll show you the rings from the side instead of looking from the end, okay? So hold on a moment. Here, I'm going to zoom in and show you these pictures, these people up here real quick. See, them are just, that's just a ledge that they're on. That ledge goes all the way down. Okay, I'm going to go to a different angle. Well, the trees are somewhat in the way right here, but let's see here. So if you look and see, you'll see the ledges, okay? You see the ledges here. And this is like the wall. This was one giant branch that went around like I showed you. And the end of it is over here. And I will go over there and show you that from this bridge. So let me pause it and I'll go show you the rings over here on the side. So hold on. So we're at a little closer angle here. And I don't mean to repeat myself, but I'm just trying to explain things. So this was that branch I showed you, how its radius is. And this would be like the back wall. And then you see the ledges, okay? And there's many others behind this tree here. But I'm going to show you how I told you from the side, you can see the rings. And remember how things break down with the ledges. So much is worn and weathered. But if you see my last video on how the busted tree rings, how they become where they're not really recognizable. So these are just part of the rings. Looking from the side. I'll try to get a better angle. But if you see this here, like the branch, okay, and the ledges, and you come over here, and this is just the rest of it, but they cut through. This is just the other side of it, the continuance. Okay, I'm at a different angle here. You can see the radius, okay, and the different ledges, okay, and the back wall that I told you to remember. To look at it close, okay? And you come right here, you see the side of it, you see all the rings, okay? Now let me try to give you a 3D perspective on this. So this is sitting like this, and the end of it is right over here, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to show you proof that this is just all part of a giant cedar tree. When we get over here, it'll blow your mind, okay? So hold on a moment. Here's just a little bit different view from the side at the rings here. And how, like, right here, how the ledges are. And how things have fallen away. That's a ledge right there to the right. Okay? If you look at it from right here, this is just part of the radius. And the ledges here. You can't see them all from this angle. But if you look and see, this is just the way the tree breaks down. And I asked you to remember, the back of that wall is what we're calling it. I'll put some close-up pictures in here so you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, I hope you can see this. So this is the back part of it, and I showed you this was the side, and over here is the face of it that I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is the face of it, this is the side, and this is like looking at it, and that back there is the radius that I was showing you. Okay, let's just go up here a little bit. I'll just keep it rolling. I'm going to show you something incredible over there. Okay, there's the face of it, and you got to understand, like the top of it would be like one of the ledges, okay? And this would be the face of it right here. And you could barely see it right here, but that's the part that went all the way around. If I had a drone, I'd be able to show you everything. And you get on Google Earth, they just block it all out. But I'm going to show you that this is all remains of a giant cedar. If you remember the videos from South Dakota and many other places up in the top of the plateaus, I want to take you over here. And I'm going to show you that these are just remains of cedars. And remember, some things are recognizable and some things are not. Just wanted to show this real quick. I'm up on a 4-mile wide plateau. Some things are recognizable and some things are not. Okay? I just want to walk around this real quick. You see over there, part of the inside ridge of the tree. Okay? This stuff is so weathered and worn. And when you look at like this right here, remember how the rings, how things fall off, okay? So we'll just keep it rolling, okay? And I'll show you. Before my dog Allie died, we were back here, I think it was last Labor Day, and there were rattlesnakes everywhere back here. There's the face of it, and you can see the rings all on the right of it. Okay, I'm going to show you here that this is all remains of cedar. You may have already seen pictures of this, but I'm trying to tie this all together. All these are just rings, the way the cedar does. And remember how everything breaks off flat, okay? You see this? And I'll hit it coming from the other side. This is no different than everything I've been showing you, but on a massive scale. Okay? Turn around, and here's the end of that giant branch. Okay? That's all it is. if you were to stand up here on top and look back, you'd be able to see exactly what I was showing you in that branch at the beginning of the video. And I'll put a picture in here in a few and show you what this is. We'll just walk back here. I'm going to show you some things, okay? This is a cave, but this could have been one of many things. Could have been where a branch came out. Okay. You see all the tight radius? Wow, the lighting is horrible. Hold on. Hey, you see all the radius here, just like I'm showing you in the branches where they would come out. You see all the radius. This is truly incredible. Tight radius, so this was more than likely where a branch came out or something. See what I can see up in here. Okay. I have pictures of inside of a stump that looks identical to this. This is all just the inside of a tree. All of it. Hey, it's incredible stuff. This was definitely, without a doubt, part of a knot or a branch that pulled out. Let me see what I may not get a very good shot. Okay, let's go down out of here a little bit. I'll turn around and show you one more time. Let me go down a little further. All that is just a tight radius. Alright, we're going to go back over here. See all this right here across the way, that's the other half of where they cut this road out here. Okay? Yeah, last summer all along this wall there were rattlesnakes everywhere. I think it was Labor Day or Memorial Day, and it was pretty crazy. There was a whole bunch up on the road up there. Well, let me show you this, okay? If you've been watching my videos, you'll understand what you're looking at, okay? How the cedar tree, let me get up on this rock, how the cedar tree breaks down. Okay? Just trying to get a better view. And this is the end of that branch right here. And we're going to walk over back here and I'll show you, but see all this here? That's just the characteristics of the cedar tree. Like I say, I'll put some pictures in here. Okay, let's go over there and take a closer look. Remember how everything breaks off flat? It's incredible stuff. How massive these trees were. It's just like at the top of the plateau, the remnants and stuff that are still remaining up there. It's just not no particular place. That's why it's important to remember what I show you, because you can apply it to anywhere in the world. But if you understand the characteristics of a cedar tree, you'll see right here how it sweeps down. And this is where that was over there, okay? When you understand the characteristics of the cedar tree, you'll know what you're looking at right here, okay? That's just all it is. Let's take a look at these people up there. It's pretty crazy stuff. So you see here, this is the characteristics of the cedar, how it swoops down and swoops up, okay? And then you come down here. Here, look at this. Let me back it out a little bit. This is the end of the stump. Like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself, but for some it's difficult to understand this. This is the back part that went up and around like that wall that I was trying to mention. I'm going to go down there one more time. So I sweep this from both sides. And you see, this is just part of a broken cedar tree that comes down. Okay? And I'll put a picture in here so you understand this. Okay? That's all it is. And this is the face of the branch. On the side over here are the rings, and that's the back wall that went around. Okay, so hold on, let's go down here a little bit. So I'm a little bit closer, and I'll try to put a couple pictures in here, the best I can find to illustrate what you're seeing here. Okay? This comes down, and the way it feathers back, just the way the cedar does, but on a massive scale. And what I'll do is I'll put a whole bunch of different single videos in, really up close to this that I took. I'm having problems with this camera taking pictures, so I'm not even going to bother with it with this camera because I already have the pictures. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It would be kind of cool if you left comments on your opinions, ideas. And that's it. I'm going to leave a small sermon at the end of this about spiritual blindness, which is really good. It's exactly what I've been trying to do with those that are still of the world and are blinded by the doctrines of men. Okay, it's really important. Alright, so I hope you enjoy that video. Thanks for watching.
Seeing and not seeing. A part of the life that we are journeying through as pilgrims, as followers of Jesus, requires that we see the unseen.
Mark chapter 8, it says, then he came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him. And they begged him to touch him, so he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. Led him out of the town because you remember Bethsaida was in the evangelical triangle, and it became one of the cursed cities. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he wanted him to say something. He asked him if he saw anything. And he looked up and he said, I see men like trees walking. Then he put his hand, I hope y'all just picked up right there, spiritual symbols and spiritual sight. I see men like trees walking. Then he put his hands on his eyes again and made him look up, and he was restored and saw everyone clearly. Okay, so one night I preached a crusade. I'm in a hotel room afterwards. I turned the TV on. There's a TV preacher on. I thought I'd listen. And he preached on this passage. And this is what he said. He said, you see, even with Jesus, it doesn't always work the first time. I couldn't believe it. I thought, with God, it doesn't always work the first time. And so I thought, well, I know that's not right. So I remember thinking, Lord, I'm going to figure this out. There's something else here. There's some reason he saw men like trees, and you put your hands on him again. So I read it. I read other scriptures. I read everything I could read. 3 hours later, I had no clue what it meant. And it all of a sudden seemed like the Lord was standing beside me. Just standing. Not literally, not naturally. It just seemed like that, you know. And he said, I felt like he just said to me, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm trying to figure this out with no help from you, I might add. And he said to me, do you think I know what that means? And I said, well, of course you know what it means. He said, why don't you just ask? So I said, okay, what? And before I could say, what does this mean? When I said, what? When I started the word what like that, he downloaded it on me just like that. Okay. Here's what the man said. Jesus puts his hands on him. Jesus, the Son of God, the creator and sustainer of the universe, who spoke the worlds into existence, put his hands on him and said, what do you see? He said, I see men like trees walking. Think about the symbols in the Bible. Can I read you a few scriptures? Psalm 1, verse 1 through 3. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the paths of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. His delight is in the law of the Lord. In his law he meditates day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the water. I saw men like trees. Psalm 52, verse 8. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of the God. Psalm 92:12, the righteous shall flourish like a palm tree. Jeremiah 17:7 and 8, blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose hope is in the Lord, for he shall be like a tree planted by the water. Isaiah 55:12, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. That's talking about people. You've never seen a bunch of oak trees clapping their hands. That's people. Matthew 7, verse 17, even so, Jesus said, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. He's not teaching us to be arborists. He is not teaching about trees. He's teaching about people. And Jesus called them trees. So trees represent people in the Bible. Jesus puts his hands on him and says, what do you see? He said, I see men like trees. Then he put his hands on him again. He restored everything clearly. Here's how simple it is. When he put his hands on him the first time, he opened his spiritual eyes. When he put his hands on him the second time, he opened his natural eyes.
We see the unseen. This is faith. We are blessed to have minds. We are blessed to have logic. We are blessed to have reason. We are blessed to have all sorts of resources that make information come at us in waves. We have technology. We have industry. We have luxury. We have opulence. We have wealth. I'm not ashamed of any of those things because I don't want them to own my heart, and they're a part of living in American culture. But none of those things are sufficient to take us where God wants to take us. None of those things are sufficient in and of themselves to bring us into the fullness of what it means to live by faith as followers of Jesus Christ. If that is ever going to be happening in our lives on a continual basis, there is a must that has to occur in our life. What is that must? We must be able to see the unseen.
I want to talk to you about spiritual blindness and spiritual sight, because it takes spiritual eyes to understand this book. And you can be spiritually blind to this book. So let me tell you some things about sight, okay? Spiritual sight. Here's number one. Spiritual blindness steals our understanding. Spiritual blindness steals our understanding. In other words, you will not understand the Bible if you're spiritually blind. Jesus said they have to be able to see with their eyes and hear with their ears, spiritual eyes and ears, so that they can understand God's word, so that they can turn, so that I can heal them. The reason many people are not spiritually healed is because they don't turn from their sin. The reason they don't turn from their sin is because they don't understand what it's doing to them. The reason they don't understand what it's doing to them is because they're spiritually blind and deaf. Think about what Jesus said. He said they can't see and they can't hear, therefore they can't understand. Therefore they can't turn, therefore I can't heal them. You just can't understand what being spiritually blind will cause in your life. It causes you to remain physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally sick. It's God's word that changes people. It's not my illustrations. It's not my applications. It's God's word.
And we got to figure out, how do we fight in order to bring glory to Jesus and to accomplish his purposes in our life? Well, it's going to require the power to see. Because life is going to be in turmoil in one place or another, probably for the rest of your days. And if you don't see the unseen, then you're going to be one of those piñata party people. I think of that, the whole point is this. They're trying to win something that they can't see what they're fighting against. They can't see where they're going. They don't know where they are. And they're swinging a stick blindly, hoping something good will come to them. A lot of people are living the Christian life like that. Battle coming against you, but you're blindfolded by reason, and you're blindfolded by explanation, and you're blindfolded by pride, and blindfolded by a presumption of how things ought to be. And you're swinging a stick, trying to do something good, trying to receive something good, but you're about as helpless as a person at a piñata party.
Watch for it. It means be prepared for it. Think about it. Be on the alert. Because your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. The devil is God's arch enemy. He here is called our adversary. And he, as a roaring lion, prowls around seeking someone to devour. What an image of the devil. A lion seeking someone to devour. The devil is real. In case any of you wondered, he's real.
You just can't understand what being spiritually blind will cause in your life. It causes you to remain physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally sick. It's God's word that changes people. Pride causes spiritual blindness. We talked about rebellion. We talked about the continued sin. The only reason you would continue to sin is because you're an arrogant person. That's the only reason. And I've been there too. The only reason we would continue to sin is because of pride. It's the only reason. The only reason we'd have a rebellious heart because of pride. Pride is at the root. Okay, so Jesus heals a blind man in John chapter 9. He's blind from birth. No one had ever healed a man blind from birth. You can read it. Since it says since the beginning of time, it's never been heard of a man was healed blind from birth. He heals this man blind from birth. and the Pharisees get mad about it. Isn't that amazing? That is shocking. So this man gets healed, and the Pharisees were mad at him that he got healed. And so they said, who did this? So he says, I don't know. Jesus, I think. A guy named Jesus. So they track Jesus down. Now I want you to watch what Jesus says. In John chapter 9, verse 39, Jesus said, for judgment I've come into this world. Now watch closely. Now he's talking about spiritual sight. That those who do not see may see. And that those who see may be made blind. And then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, are we blind also? And Jesus said, bingo. Listen to what he said. He's talking about spiritual sight. Remember, this is a spiritual book. If you were blind, listen to what he says. You would have no sin. But now, or the word here could be translated since. But since you say, we see, therefore your sin remains. Okay, let me tell you again how spiritual this is. Jesus said, I came into this world that those who are spiritually blind could receive their sight. You remember what happened when Paul got saved? Ananias prayed for him, and what happened? Scales fell off his eyes. Think about that. Think about that. Scales fell off his eyes. So Jesus said, I came into this world that those who cannot see spiritually will be able to see. And those of you who say that you can see without me, that you don't need me, you'll just be made blind. And the Pharisees said, so you're saying we're blind? And Jesus said, oh yeah, you're blind. But here's another way he said. He said, if you would admit to me that you couldn't see without me, listen to what he says. You would have no sin. In other words, I would forgive your sin. I would erase your sin. If you would just admit to me that you're blind without me, I'd take care. I'd remove all your sin. That, I'm telling you, this is an amazing verse. This is a spiritual book. And then he said, but since you say that you can see without me, your sin remains.
It's a great record, but what I want you to understand is there's spiritual things happening. The problems you have in your life, the things that seem to be around you, there's a spiritual thing going on. And sometimes it's your own mind. You don't renew your mind to what the scriptures say. And you're not walking according to what God's word says. And you're sinning. And maybe that's the cause of your problem. You know, there are things that happen that are spiritual causes to your situation. So we need to wake up. Open our eyes to the spiritual world. It's very easy to get lulled into complacency in your life, especially in our world, especially in the day and time we live with covetousness and a world filled with knowledge. I mean, the knowledge that we have in our day and time with the internet, with television and the things that we have to receive knowledge, our world has become so secular. It is so inundated with knowledge. We think we're so smart that we forget about God, and we forget about the spiritual world, and we forget about being spiritual people, and to walk like sons of God, to walk like men and women of Christ who have the Spirit of God enabled within them, and to go out into your work, to go out into school, to go out into the communities that we live and walk like spiritual people with a mind and a heart ready to receive the things of God that God has in store for you to know that day. But you got all your problems you got to deal with. We need to get our problems aligned with His problem, which is to get the gospel message around the world, which is to turn people to the Lord Jesus Christ and be spiritually minded people. That's the way we want to live, to be spiritually minded. Our prayer should be, Lord, open the eyes of our heart. That wouldn't be a bad prayer to pray every day before you go out into the world. to have that in your prayer life.